Attention passionate Washington Commanders fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Washington Commanders' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Washington Commanders fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS and Washington Commanders FANS. Let's get to the news now, folks. Imagine the scenario. The NFL offseason continues to unfold, and one of the most intriguing stories involves the potential acquisition of Greg Newsome by the Washington Commanders. Yes, you heard that right. The Commanders, fresh off a surprising playoff appearance last season, are apparently eyeing a major upgrade in their secondary, and Newsome is at the center of it all. But how did we get here? Well, it all starts with the NFL draft plans, specifically the Cleveland Browns' intentions. It looks like Cleveland is set to draft Travis Hunter second overall in the 2025 NFL Draft. Hunter, as many of you know, is a phenomenal two-way player, capable of playing both cornerback and wide receiver, and he's expressed a desire to contribute on both sides of the ball. That kind of versatility makes him a game changer, but it also sets off a chain reaction for the Browns' roster decisions, particularly in their secondary. With the Browns eyeing Travis Hunter, the question becomes, what happens to their current cornerbacks? Well, Greg Newsome's name has been floating around in trade discussions for quite some time now, especially in recent offseasons. Newsome, a talented and young cornerback at just 24 years old, has shown flashes of brilliance during his 4 seasons with Cleveland. Despite some struggles, especially with hamstring injuries last year, he's still considered a valuable asset. His contract situation is also relevant. He's set to make about $3 million on his 5th-year option. For a team like Cleveland, which is still rebuilding and trying to find its identity, that kind of investment in a player competing with other talented cornerbacks like Martin Emerson and Denzel Ward might not be sustainable, especially if they're planning to go all in on Hunter. And here's where the Washington Commanders come into play. Last season, Washington surprised everyone by making it to the playoffs under head coach Dan Quinn. That was a huge step forward, especially considering they did it with rookie quarterback Jayden Daniels. But making the playoffs was just the beginning. If Washington wants to really establish itself as a contender in the NFC East, especially in a division that keeps getting tougher with teams like the Eagles and Cowboys, they need to shore up their secondary. That's exactly why acquiring a player like Greg Newsome makes so much sense. He's young, talented, and has plenty of room to grow. And despite some injury setbacks last season, he's proven that he can be a reliable cover corner, allowing only 740 yards and 10 touchdowns over his 4-year career. That's solid production, and he's also snagged 3 interceptions along the way, with 27 pass breakups. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUB algorithm to keep recommending the latest Washington Commanders news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. Now, why would Cleveland be willing to trade Newsome? Well, aside from the draft plans for Hunter, there are financial considerations. Newsome's contract, while reasonable for his talent level, might be a luxury for Cleveland at this point, especially with other young corners competing for snaps. The Browns are in a phase where they're trying to build around their core, and sometimes that means making tough decisions. Trading Newsome could give them a mid-round pick, like a 4th-rounder in 2025, plus some flexibility to build through the draft and free agency. And for Washington, this is a golden opportunity. They need to bolster their secondary, which was exposed in that NFC Championship game against the Eagles. Jalen Hurts threw for 246 yards and a touchdown that day, and it highlighted how much more talent they need in the back end to compete at the highest level. Adding Newsome would give the Commanders a young, proven corner who can immediately step into a starting role. His ability to play tight coverage, combined with his ball skills, makes him a perfect fit for what defensive coordinator Jack Del Rio wants to do. Plus, With the coaching staff's reputation for developing talent, especially under Dan Quinn, Newsome's ceiling could be even higher. It's not just about fixing a weakness, it's about adding a player who can be a cornerstone for years to come. And considering the current roster, with players like Emmanuel Forbes and Kendall Fuller, Newsome's addition would give the secondary a much-needed boost, especially in pass defense efficiency. But let's not forget the bigger picture here. The NFC East is one of the most competitive divisions in the NFL. The Eagles are reigning champions, with a roster that's loaded with talent. The Cowboys, always a tough matchup, have a strong defense and a potent offense. For Washington to take that next step and truly position themselves as contenders, they must improve in key areas. The secondary is one of those areas, and the potential trade for Newsome could be a game-changer. It signals that the Commanders are serious about competing at a higher level, about closing the gap with their divisional rivals. And what does this mean for Newsome himself? Well, at 24, he's still ascending. His career stats show a player with a lot of potential. He's allowed only 740 yards and 10 touchdowns, with 3 interceptions and 27 pass breakups. Despite last year's hamstring issues, he's shown resilience and a willingness to bounce back. For him, a fresh start in Washington could mean a chance to be a defensive leader, to develop further under Dan Quinn's guidance. It's a perfect match of a team looking to make a statement and a young talent eager to prove himself on a bigger stage. Now, for the fans watching, this kind of move could reshape the NFC East's power dynamics. Washington's secondary could become a real strength with Newsome in the mix, and that could translate into more wins, more confidence, and a stronger push in the playoffs. Remember, last season's run was impressive, but it also exposed some vulnerabilities. Upgrading that secondary with a player like Newsome could be the final piece to make Washington a real threat in January. And for Cleveland, trading Newsome might be part of a broader strategy to retool their roster, especially with the draft approaching and teams like the Browns looking to build for the future. So, as we keep an eye on the NFL draft and the upcoming free agency period, this potential trade is one to watch closely. Will Cleveland pull the trigger and send Newsome to Washington? It's a move that could benefit both sides, Cleveland getting draft capital and salary cap flexibility, and Washington acquiring a talented corner who can make an immediate impact. The NFL offseason never sleeps, and stories like this are exactly what make it so exciting for fans. It's a chess game, a strategic battle, and the stakes couldn't be higher for the Washington Commanders as they look to solidify their defense and push for a deeper playoff run. And now, Washington Commanders fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Do you think Greg Newsome would be the perfect addition to your secondary? Would you like to see the Commanders make this move? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the team. Remember, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for all the latest Washington Commanders news. We're in this together, and the journey to another successful season is just heating up. Thanks for watching, and as always, let's keep that Washington pride strong.